Paramedics are trying to help Christian.
Sit down, sit down, sit down. Do me a favor, sit down. Do not move.
Why are you yelling at me?
Do not move.
Why are you yelling at me?
Do not move, sit down.
Okay. Oh my god, oh my god.
Courtney is begging to see him, but police explain she cannot go back inside because the apartment is considered a crime scene.
I'm covered in his blood because I'm trying to save him.
I understand that.
I'm trying to save him.
I understand that.
And if I don't, you can't, then what will I do with my life? I need him.
What's up, YouTube? It's your Huckleberry here, back with another video. We're going to be reacting to a video that asmongold is also, I suppose, reacting to. We're going to be reacting with him on a video about a TikToker. I'm not really sure what the circumstances are around this. You guys like videos about TikTokers that have gone awry, such as the girl in Michigan that beat up the 14-year-old or the DoorDash girl that was trying to post on TikTok. I thought this would be right up the vein of that, and I thought we would just figure out what's going on together. It seems like a lot more serious than beating somebody up or posting something online. But yeah, so let's get into it and let's see what's going on. Let's get it.
It's actually crazy the amount of people. TikToker facing life in prison humiliates herself in court. Isn't it insane how many of these people think that it's basically all a game to them until they actually get sentenced or they go to jail? And then they're like, wait, what? Wait, what? No way. Wait a minute. Oh my God.
It's the way they're being raised these days. There's no accountability when they're young. And so they go and do something hella stupid when they're adult and their life's over or ruined or whatnot. And they had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, this chick seems like she might be off the rails just from the picture.
Are you telling me that I can actually get in trouble? No way.
This TikToker is facing life in prison for ending her boyfriend's life, but I guess she's also blowing kisses in court. Welcome back to another episode of What in the World is Going On with these darn influencers? Because for some...
Okay, so atozy is pretty cool YouTuber. He's the one that I think went to court for the DoorDash girl. He actually went to the Oswego court when she was having her initial trial. Didn't get a lot of answers because they moved it up. Go check out the DoorDash video that I made. But yeah, this dude is pretty good in his synopsis and whatnot.
Reason a whole bunch of them just can't act right. So okay, after sitting in jail for more than 3 years awaiting trial and after being denied bond yet again, she shows up to a motions hearing sticking her tongue out and puckering up at the people in the courtroom. Okay, ma'am, you're charged with second-degree murder. You're about to stand trial this spring. Why are you acting like this? Because if you're claiming self-defense and your entire future depends on a jury believing you were terrified and had no other choice, why are you blowing kisses like this is some sort of like a red carpet event? Like, hello? And also, like, I know a lot of you guys are probably lost here, but the story starts in April 2022 because police were then called to a luxury apartment building in Miami. And inside the apartment, they found a 27-year-old Christian Toby Obumseli, no longer responsive. Courtney here took his life with a knife, and she's claiming...
What the fuck?
I remember hearing about this. I didn't know any details. I just remember hearing about a TikToker who killed her boyfriend, and that was pretty much the gist. So I do loosely remember this story, but I don't know the details at all. His reaction.
Self-defense. And Courtney Clemmy, she's a TikToker, Instagram model, and OF girl. And she has millions of followers, and she's known online as Courtney Taylor. But by the time first responders arrived, Toby was bleeding heavily and would later lose his life to those injuries.
In the next room, paramedics are trying to help Christian.
Sit down, sit down, sit down. Do me a favor, sit down. Do not move.
Why are you yelling at me?
Do not move.
Why are you yelling at me?
Do not move, sit down.
Okay. Oh my god, oh my god.
Courtney is begging to see him, but police explain she cannot go back inside because the apartment is considered a crime scene.
I'm covered in his blood because I'm trying to save him.
I understand that.
I'm trying to save him.
I understand that.
And if I don't, you can't, then what will I do with my life? I need him. He's like my other half.
And Courtney didn't deny what happened. She acknowledged that she ended his life, but said that she was acting in self-defense. She told investigators that Toby had pushed her and thrown her to the floor, then claimed that she grabbed a knife and threw it at him from about 10 feet away. And that's the version of events her defense.
What does she think? She's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? She's like a ninja, some shit like that? Like, what is this?
She threw the knife at him from across. Like, what? How? Is that what they said?
Then claimed that she grabbed a knife and threw it at him from about 10 feet away. And that's the version of events heard.
What? She threw the knife and it was such a good shot. It like went in and it caused his death. Is she like a knife thrower? I mean, I'm pretty sure 10 feet away, that would be a hard thing to pull off, I think.
She's like a ninja, some shit like that? Like, what is this? That's hard to do, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying.
But it's safe to say the medical examiner's stories complicated that story because the autopsy concluded that Albumcelli, he passed away from a forceful downward thrust from a blade that went 3 inches into his chest, which, you know, was piercing a major artery. And investigators essentially say that the fatal wound could not have been caused by a knife thrown from that distance. And
fuck.
That's the detail which has people questioning everything about her story. Because thrown knife versus downward plunge, that's the question. And this has been the biggest point of tension for the entire case. But she wasn't arrested that day or even the next day. In fact, she wasn't taken into custody until 4 months later, in August of 2022. Because then she was arrested in Hawaii at a rehab facility, and she was then extradited back to Florida to face a charge of second-degree murder. And at the time of her arrest, Miami-Dade...
Wait, so, oh my God. So they let her... Wait, number one, like, if you have the... I mean, I guess they didn't know whether she did it or not.
She got that white girl privilege. I don't want to cut Asmongold off, but if I'm going to talk, I'm going to end up cutting one of these two off. And it sounds like she got that white girl privilege. Because if that had been any kind of dude, white, black, brown, or whatever, or if that had been a black girl or a brown girl, they ain't letting her go to Hawaii. They ain't giving her a week before they have her in jail. I mean, I hate to say that, but isn't that kind of like sounds like she got that white girl privilege.
Right? Because there's like a degree of uncertainty, so I guess that's why they let her out. I don't know, man.
State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle described the incident as coming from a tempestuous and combative relationship that began in November of 2020. And that relationship had already drawn attention long before Toby lost his life.
Wait, what?
Because the couple had previously lived in Austin, Texas. And there, a former...
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, that's my town. Yeah, bro. We got a lot of crash outs here. We do.
Former neighbors said their fights were so frequent and intense that according to...
He's not really lying. There's a bunch of drama coming out of Austin. A bunch of crazy people that live in Austin.
Reporting at the time, police were called to their residence multiple times. So after moving to Miami, prosecutors said the violence continued, and that their building was even preparing to evict them because of the repeated disturbances.
Holy shit!
Like, do you know how bad the fighting has to be to get evicted over fighting? Then, video surfaces from a trip the couple took to Aspen just months before Toby's life was ended. And in that footage, Courtney can be seen hitting him repeatedly during an argument. I'm unsure how much we could actually show of that footage here,
Do we get to
but
see
it looks bad.
I was sober for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And now why am I not sober? Because of you.
Oh, yeah, bro. She stabbed him. Dude, like, listen to her. She's, yeah. Dude, this is so, she should have gotten locked up, bro. Like, this is the kind of person, this is a wild ass. And listen to the way she talks. Listen to the way she, oh, bro. Absolutely, totally a crash out. Absolutely white trash crash out. Trailer park. Like, again, should have never been on the internet. Should have never been an influencer. This is somebody that, like, their life should have been, again.
From Asmongold's standards, she probably should be in a mental asylum, and I'm not going to completely disagree with him, especially given what she ended up doing. But he's a firm believer in opening up the asylums and putting all these crazies in there, putting people that even can't function normal society. And but yeah, he's right though. You could tell by every time we've heard her talk so far on any of these recordings that she's kind of just wilding out.
Like, this is somebody who should have been digging potatoes out of the ground, right? That should have been her life. Somebody gave her a cell phone, and now this is what happens.
Video shows
Model Courtney Clenny hitting then boyfriend Christian Obumseli over a dozen times while on a trip in Aspen, Colorado. This is one of more than 100 pieces of evidence released to the Obumseli family civil attorney as part of the investigation.
In that video, you can see Courtney acting erratically. You can see her hitting Christian multiple times, which unfortunately is consistent with her behavior throughout this entire case.
But her attorney later described the relationship as toxic and said that evidence exists that Obumseli physically abused Courtney on prior occasions, and on April 3rd, 2022, Courtney was forced to defend herself from Obumseli's physical attack. Well, I mean, it's hard to say because we weren't there and we don't have camera footage of what happened. But to me, it looks like there's also evidence that Courtney did this back to Toby. So, from the beginning, this case has not been simple whatsoever. On one side, you have a woman claiming self-defense and what she describes as an abusive relationship. On the other side, you have forensic evidence that prosecutors argue does not match up to her story. And as this case has moved forward, it's only become more and more complicated because it wasn't just Courtney who ended up facing charges, her parents did as well. Well, that definitely doesn't make her look good.
Wait,
and
what?
Kim and Deborah Clenny were taken into custody in Texas on out-of-state felony charges connected to the case. Because according to the arrest warrant affidavit, Kim, Deborah, and Courtney were charged with one count of unauthorized access of a computer system, or electronic device belonging to Christian Obumseli. Because investigators believe that Obumseli's laptop had been taken from the Miami apartment after his passing and accessed without permission. And the Obumseli family's attorneys released a statement saying the Obumseli family is saddened to hear the reports that Courtney's parents illegally took possession of Christian's laptop.
So they could have theoretically taken the laptop in order to delete evidence of her being violent.
Right.
The good thing about that is that they can probably recover that evidence.
Yep, they can.
Like usually a soft delete, like the way that like basically a parent would do, probably just removes the file from the registry, and they might be able to recover that information.
And this is yet another disturbing reminder of the horrible crimes committed against their family. The Clenny's family's attorney fired back, basically saying that they were saddened to hear her parents were arrested, and it was an overstep by the prosecution. They also said, we believe the Clenny family has been targeted. I mean, if they took the guy's laptop right after she killed him, then, I mean, couldn't you easily just look at the phone conversations if he she calls them, they get the laptop. Like, I mean, I feel like this is pretty easy to figure out, right? With some trumped up
charges. Wait a minute. So they didn't delete, they destroyed everything? Wait a minute. Let me see if I can understand this.
Well, they pulled a Hillary Clinton.
I wonder if they still even have the laptop.
Is to discredit them in the press and make their lives miserable. It stinks of a power play by prosecutors to control the narrative. So now, not only was Courtney facing a murder charge, her parents were facing felony charges tied to alleged computer access. And in July of 2024, the computer hacking charges were dropped because of a circuit judge ruled that Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office violated attorney-client privilege when investigators seized text messages and emails between Courtney, her parents, and her attorneys. And that doesn't mean that they didn't take the computer, it just means the investigators got a hold of information that was meant to be between Courtney's family and their lawyers. And on the murder charge side of things,
that seems like bullshit to me.
Courtney was charged with second-degree murder. When she first went into the judge, her legal team pushed for a bond. They argued that she was not a flight risk and that she should be allowed to await trial outside of jail. But the judge disagreed. She was denied bond and she's been behind bars.
A base judge.
Bars ever since. Over the next few months, though,
we need more
evidence
of them.
Started coming out.
Right.
And through all this, through the public hearings, the public statements, the video evidence, the parents' arrest, Courtney Clenny, she remained in jail. And by the time 2025 rolled around, Courtney Clenny had been in jail for more than 3 years. So her defense team tried again. In December, she was back in court asking the judge to reconsider bond. Her attorneys argued that she didn't have the money she once did. They said that she wasn't a flight risk and that she didn't pose a danger to the community. They told the court that if she was to be released, she would go back to Texas and live with her parents in BK. And prosecutors argued that the evidence presented by the defense did not change the situation and that Clenny should not be considered for bond. The judge also agreed with the state and bond was denied yet again. Which means, she has to wait in jail until her trial.
That's what you get.
The December hearing did actually lead to a trial date. So the judge set the trial to begin on April 27, 2026. And prosecutors said they believe the case would take less than 2 weeks to present. So after years of legal back and forth, after motions, hearings, and privilege disputes, and public statements, this case finally has a clock on it. Spring of 2026. And I mean, honestly, the stakes could not be higher, because if convicted, she could face life in prison. Her defense...
Thank God.
is still centered around the self-defense, but they also have pushed for the case to be considered manslaughter instead of second-degree murder. And the prosecution maintains that the evidence shows an intentional act, pointing again to the autopsy finding of a forceful downward thrust. And that couldn't have just been made from a knife being thrown from 10 feet away.
No way.
And I guess
also, if it was self-defense, wouldn't she have marks on herself as well?
at this time, a jury will eventually decide, was this self-defense during a violent domestic dispute, or was it all intentional? And then, just as trial season was approaching, she walked into court last week and went viral once again, because this court appearance was for, I guess, her motions hearing ahead of the trial. So this wasn't her trial itself. This was one of those hearings where lawyers argue about what evidence the jury will and won't see. And before the proceedings even began, she started making faces at the people in the courtroom. And
so y'all know what's happening here. Okay, so initially, you heard her, like, the way she was kind of wilding out and acting hysterical, and whether it was on the police body cam about seeing him after she stabbed him, or whether it was when you heard her in those other videos about when she was fighting with him or whatnot. Both situations, she was kind of just acting completely different than the person we see in these pictures here. Now, remember, these pictures here are after she's been in jail for 3 years. So she's been turned out. Jail has done this to her. Like, she's been corrupted, or, like, even to another degree. Like, she was already, like, messed up in her whole mentality. But being in jail and being around, like, all these other hard criminals, she's definitely been, like, turned out to be, like, fuck society, fuck everybody, I'm a crazy bitch kind of, like, mentality now. Like, it's pretty much an exaggeration of the mentality she had before. Like, this I understand, actually, if she's been in jail for that long already, and she was already a mental case.
According to...
Why would you do this? Actually, I can tell you why she's doing this. People like her... There are a lot of girls that are violent, aggressive, psychopathic, sociopathic, and problematic that get away with it because they're hot.
Yeah.
That's the real reason.
Yeah.
Reporting from the hearing,
that's also
Plenty
true.
was seen sticking out her tongue and puckering like she wanted someone's kiss. Like, again, ma'am, your life is on the line here. Yep. Why are you acting like this?
Because she's probably spent her entire life getting privileges and advantages and other amounts of, basically excuses made for her and her bad behavior for her entire life, and now she's being held accountable and she doesn't realize it. That's, I think...
And it's also the first time in over 3 years that she's been publicized, like on TikTok or on TV or on YouTube or whatever. She's taking advantage of that situation. And being that she's a more mentally unstable person than she even was before, she's taking this opportunity to just show her craziness. To maybe go viral. Or to maybe to impress the girls in jail. Like, who knows what's going through her mind, but it makes sense to me that she's that much more, because she's been, like, marinating in craziness for the last 3 years. And she was already crazy.
What's happening? And so, like, she's
been
not
in jail
used to it.
For more than 3 years.
Like, basically,
she's facing second-degree murder.
Basically, people like this never really have to grow up. I think that's the best example.
Murder charges, and, she could spend the rest of her life in prison, and this is what she's deciding to do. So, yeah. But her defense team tried to strike down one of the prosecutor's expert witnesses, Dr. Michael Brandon. Because apparently the issue is that Brandon had sued the defense proposed expert, Dr. Lenore Walker, for defamation more than 20 years ago. And the case was settled with an agreement that they would not personally malign with each other. And Walker testified that it would make her uncomfortable to remain involved if Brandon stayed in the case. Basically, the defense and the prosecution's star witnesses are fighting on top of everything else happening here.
What a surprise.
So, That makes this case even more interesting. But Brandon testified that there's no reason why both sides can't continue if everyone keeps it professional. But Judge Andrea Wolfson denied the defense's motion, and there was also a fight over recordings. Because prosecutors also want to introduce recordings that Christian Albumselli secretly made of Courtney before his passing. And the defense argued those recordings were illegal recordings and should be excluded. And
Dude, if it wasn't like illegal recordings, like what are we talking about? If it's a one-party state, it's not an illegal recording. Like that just sounds like bullshit, so they're trying to get stuff thrown out.
Wolfson ruled to exclude most of them, but we'll still see some.
I had people up at work that used to give me shit and yell at me all the time, and I would tell my bosses about it, and they would always be neutral, or they would take the side of the person that went to HR, which was typically that other person. And I said, well, I'll just record this situation and I'll show you firsthand like how I'm talking to her and how she flips out on me. I was yelled at and told that against rules you can get her for that, blah, blah, blah. Even if I'm doing it to defend myself, there is some kind of weird rule about like recording people like without their knowledge. And even if you feel like it's justified, you can still get in trouble for it.
These secret recordings when the trial comes around. Because recordings made in the apartment's lobby and on the balcony can be used, ruling there was no reasonable expectation of privacy in those areas. So apparently some of that audio will also be played for a jury.
I'm actually not having a good day, where I actually literally want to kill you, but you don't take me seriously.
I want to kill you. And now, then she killed him? Okay.
So her trial is set to begin on April 27, 2026. 12 people will be asked to decide whether this was self-defense in a volatile relationship or whether this was an intentional act. And honestly, when you're about to ask 12 strangers to believe you were terrified for your life, blowing kisses in court doesn't really seem like the best.
Well, again, these are people that are used to getting everything they want in their entire life. And they never have to grow up. They can act like adult children because people put up with them. And you see this with rich people. You see it with pretty girls. You see it with other groups of people that have privileges. And that is the reason why it happens. They're like spoiled children, even though they're like 23 or something like that.
Yeah, it's the way they're being raised. And like, no accountability. Look, you take away spankings when you're a little kid, you know, and you just coddle them, and then you give them like this social media atmosphere to where like they just get rewarded for every crazy stupid thing that they put online, and the crazier they act, the like more views they get. It's ridiculous.
Idea. So, hey, this will be interesting to see how it all plays out.
So, yeah, that's what you get. I think this is another example of somebody thinking that they totally, absolutely, there's nothing that's going to happen to them. They're never going to be held accountable. There's never going to be any consequences. And then somebody like this thinks that they're going to get away with it. I think that she thinks she's going to get away with it even now. She probably thinks she's going to get away with it even.
I don't know if I completely agree with him. I mean, I think that she doesn't think she'll get a life sentence. I think she's got this facade going now. You know, I think she's trying to look more badass, more hardcore, you know, trying to impress people. I also think that she's probably not mentally all there and still doesn't understand what she's facing. But after being in jail for like 3 years, obviously they'll do time served a little bit on her. I imagine she'll probably get like 15 years, like after 12, something like that. And then she'll go back to being crazy when she's about to hit the wall with her age. I don't completely agree with what Asmongold's saying here, but I do, for the most part, agree. She doesn't really comprehend what's happening. She's just like going with the flow still.
After 4 years, right? She sounds like a keeper. I mean, keep her in jail. Yeah, there you go. Not a flight risk. Crime committed in Florida, arrested in Hawaii. Well, to be fair, that's not really what a flight risk means, but yeah. Abuse knows no gender, kid.
Well, yeah, and also to be fair, apparently she was in rehab in Hawaii. What goes to rehab in Hawaii? Don't you usually go to Arizona for that shit?
Yeah, but there's definitely an advantage that you have if you're one gender. I'll tell you that. No, I saw this, and it's like some of these content creators are just so fucking.
And I said that earlier. She had that white girl privilege at first because they didn't have enough evidence. They just let her ride.
range because she will get away with it. I don't think that she will, but I think the chances of her getting life in prison are very low.
Yep.
Women usually get very reduced sentences for crimes, and while this is a very serious crime, I still don't think necessarily that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be heat of passion, something like that, some kind of justifiable excuse to like knock her sentence that way down.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I've seen content creators do this.
So they said spring, so we should get some kind of resolution on this, or at least some more information on this within the next couple months. All right, guys, well, that's the video. I'm sure most of us probably heard when this first happened, probably saw something while they're, doom scrolling about, the TikToker that murdered her boyfriend. But yeah, she looks like she's batshit crazy, and she probably had just gotten like proportionally more crazy being locked up with a bunch of other loons for the last 3 years. So we'll keep you posted on information on this one as it comes out. I appreciate you guys coming by and sitting down with me and reacting with asmongold to this situation. I don't have to, tell you about his channel. He's one of the most popular YouTubers out there, and atozy is really good with doing breakdowns like we just saw. So I would encourage you to go to both their channels and follow them. But while you're doing some things, why don't you go down below and give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'm getting better with talking to you guys and finding things that you guys might want to react and watch with me. Give me a like, leave your comments below, let me know some things maybe that you think about this case or some other things that you want to know or you want to react with me to. All right, guys, I'm your Huckleberry. You can call me Huck, and until next time, peace!